cycle. Right. When you go to the name, it is a simple tag. That is like it is a simple tag. So any element which takes text value is a simple tag. Any element which takes a text value is a simple tag. Element without attributes, without chain elements, we call it as simple tag. So schema has two types of data types: simple tag and complex tag. When you go to simple tag, again it has some parts like built-in data types, user-defined data types. Built-in data types, user-defined. When you say built-in, there are almost 48 data types out there. Okay, so let's not go too much onto the schema. So basically, we need to understand simple tag and complex tag. When it is simple tag, any element which only contains text data is called simple tag. Complex, rest all the things are complex. Okay, let me give you. So when you're going for the element, when you say complex tag, if the complex tag is there, element with the chain elements, element with attributes, element with empty, or combination of all. Element with empty, okay, empty complex type, chain, okay, element with the chain elements, element with attributes, or combination. The combination. All these are called complex type. So simple type, complex type. Simple type, complex type. The advantage of schema is that you can define your own data types. You have a flexibility to define your own data types like your wrapper classes. The wrapper classes, what are you doing? You are defining your own data type. Wrapper class is nothing but user defined data type. Wrapper class is nothing but user defined data type. You are defining your own data type. What are you doing with wrapper classes? Using wrapper class, you are defining your own data type. Similarly, when you are going with a schema, using schema you can define your own data type. You have a flexibility to define your own data type using a schema. You have a flexibility to define your own data type using a schema. Right? Okay. So look at the structure. Now, when you are trying to start explaining this schema, I have to tell you a few things, few things here. Because some attributes you find like XML namespace, target namespace like this. Look at this. I have a class. Let us say I have batch 1, batch 2. I have, let us say, 3 batches I have. Let us assume I have 7 o'clock batch, 8:30 batch, 10 o'clock batch. Now in this batch, I have some students, Ravi, Kiran. In this batch, I have Ravi, you have these are my students. Now what happened? I am maintaining my student database. I'm maintaining a separate database for my student data. Here, I am not storing the data batch wise. Simply I am storing only list of students. If I store only list of students, if I call Ravi, who will respond? So when I say Ravi, which Ravi? Is the Ravi from 7 o'clock batch, 8:30 batch, or 10 o'clock batch? I told Ravi, which Ravi is he? 7 o'clock Ravi, 8:30 or 10 o'clock, which Ravi? So there is a okay, there is a conflict between the names. There is a conflict between the names. When there is a conflict between the names, then I divide them like a batch wise. 7:30 batch, 8:30 batch, 10 o'clock batch. Previously, all of them are clubbed. Now I divide them clearly. This is 7 o'clock batch, 8:30 batch, 10 o'clock batch. Now if I want to call this Ravi, what I will give? 7 a.m. Ravi. Now is the conflict is removed? Why the conflict is removed? Because I gave a naming for this. What is that name called? Namespace. What is the name called? Namespace. What is the namespace? 7 a.m. dot Ravi. 7 a.m. dot Kiran. 7 a.m. dot Hari. 8:30 dot Ravi. 8:30 dot Kiran, 8:30 dot Prasad. We are removing the conflict here by using a namespace. We are removing the conflict here by removing what? Namespace. Is that was clear? By using the namespace, we are removing it. So what is the purpose of namespace? It is to remove the conflict. It is to remove the conflict. Let me give you. This is my organization. In my organization, I have some classes. Example, demo. These are the classes what I have. Then there are two packages here. Package 1, package 2. In package 1, they have again example. The package 2 I have example. Now I install these two packages. When I install these two packages, what happened? These are copied. When they copied, when I say example, which example? Is it the example class from your organization, or is it the example class from the first package or second package? There is a conflict. There is a conflict. When the naming conventions are same, obviously there is a conflict. To remove the conflict, what are you giving? Now you give some namespace called. You give some namespace called as cache per code. You give the namespace called. Now how you refer now? If you give a namespace, then all these things will be. All these things are referred. Now these things are referred as CPQ dot. What is that CPQ? It is a namespace. It is a namespace. The CPQ is a namespace. Now because of this, what happened? The conflict is removed. So if you want to refer to this, you have to always refer as OM dot example, OM dot contact handler. And these are referred as example demo account handler. These are referred as CPQ example. So what is the basic theme of this? It's a namespace. It is what? Namespace. It is what? Namespace. It is what? Namespace. Namespace. So in the CPQ namespace, we have elements called example, demo, opti handler. In the OM namespace, we have example and contact handler. There is a reason when you are going for a program, so what are you getting here? Database dot. Now we are going, what is that? Apex pages dot message. Apex pages dot current page. Right. Similarly, we have messaging dot single email message. Messaging dot mass email message. We also have similarly process dot begin request. Similarly, we have JSON system dot JSON generator. So what are this? They are to remove the conflict. So what is this? Apex page is what? Namespace. In the namespace of Apex class, we have this. In the namespace of messaging, we have this. That is the reason whenever we go for email programming, what we always do, we cannot give like a single email message. If you want to use a single email message, we have to always give like messaging or single email message. Why? Because single email message is a part of namespace called messaging. All the classes, all the interfaces which are used for email services, they are defined in messaging namespace. All the classes, all the interfaces which are required for email services, they are defined under a namespace called messaging. That's why always we have to go with the full name. Always we have to go with the full name. Always we have to go with the full name. Always we have to go with the full name. Is that was clear? Is that clear? Okay. Now, here you are calling a namespace, there I am calling a target namespace. Here you are calling as a namespace, the schema and then calling as target namespace. Here I am going to call student namespace, there I am going to call it as a target namespace. Here we are calling as a namespace, there I am calling as target namespace. In the schema, we are going to call it as target namespace. So when it says messaging, all the elements like single email message, mass email message, inbound email message, inbound email, inbound envelope, inbound, okay, inbound envelope, inbound email result, all these elements are defined with messaging namespace. Namespace says all these elements are a part of messaging. All these elements are a part of messaging. Like we got all the elements like JSON, JSON generator, JSON parser. These are elements of system. These are the elements of system. All these are the elements of system. Under the system namespace, the following elements are there. Similarly, in the schema, we are going to give target namespace. Under the target namespace, elements will be there. There is a under the namespace, there is a under the target namespace. Okay. Are you clear about this? Now, if you want to refer to this, how are you referring? System. So let me give you. Even you, schema, target namespace always should start with the protocol. Target name should always start with the protocol. Target namespace should always start with the protocol. Target namespace should always start with the protocol. So, namespace. Now, this is my schema. So, in the schema, they say they are having employee name. In the employee name, they have first name and last name. Now, all these elements are defined where? All these elements are a part of this target. Now, I told you namespace elements. In the target namespace, what are the elements we have? EMP name, last name, first name. These are common. Now, if there is a namespace, how do you refer? Namespace dot element, namespace dot class name, namespace dot mother name. Here also, if I want to define, I have to define the same way. What should I do? It should be as so. Is it easy to define like this? Dot element. So this is a lengthy name. It is becoming very lengthy. So I know that all these elements are part of satishmala.com. Okay, good, accepted. But if I want to define the absolute name, it is becoming difficult for me. Because I cannot use a lengthy name for referring to every element. Every time I would say satishmala.com slash schema definition dot. I cannot use that. So to define that, we are going for a simple funda called we are going for a single funda called XML namespace. XML namespace. XML namespace. So in XML namespace, I'm giving if I give XML namespace, it's like import statement. It's like import. If anybody Java developers, you write import Java.etil, import Java. Okay, IO import Java. It's like import. So automatically the file is imported. When the file is imported, no need to tell this. To make it easier for you, I'll give it like this. Public class address. That's the point. This class. Now I want to use this class in another class. Public class. If I want to use this class within this class, what should I do? Am I right? Now what are we doing? Referring to the class within this. Now within this class, if you want to refer, what do you do? Ad.city, ad.state. Am I right? If I want to refer in the class, how do you give it? Ad dot. This is how you are doing. Right? This is what we are doing. This is supposed to be. This is supposed to be the format. But now, what I'm doing here, instead of doing this, I wrote public address. Where is this? In this case, what did I do? The complete one is defined within this. You imported whatever the class is there, you import it here. Whatever the class is there, you import it here. The class is a part of this class now. I define as the inner class. Also, whatever that is there, be a part of this class. When it be a part of this class, this format or this format. Okay, you can use this format or this format. So this is one separate element. This element we want to use in this class. So what I'm doing, address AD. So the class is included in the employee class. Address class is included in the employee class. Now I can refer to AD.name, AD.city. Or else I can define like a inner class. So both these are what solutions. Both these are what solution. If you want to use this class in another class, import that class in other class like variable. Similarly, here also, when I say XML namespace means whatever the definition of the schema is there, import that in the schema. That means it is a part of it. When it is a part of it, no need to define. No need to define everything. When you say part of it, automatically I can use address is included. When address is included, directly I am getting what? City, state. Now I will not say ad.city, ad.state. Now directly it becomes what? City, state. Why? You've been a part of it. You've been a part of it. Are you getting my point? So we are importing the namespace. When you import the namespace, no need to mention here the target. If you don't import the namespace, what should happen? If you don't import the namespace, what should happen? You have to give the absolute name. Satishmala.com dot element. Satishmala.com dot element. Satishmala.com dot element. Instead of this, I'll just use it as what? Except. But the problem is, I can import more than one namespace. I can import more than one namespace. I am also importing. So in the capital, there are a few more elements. In the capital, they have element like here I was giving faculty. Now, this faculty was defined. The faculty was defined. The faculty was defined in the capital namespace, and student was EMP name was defined in the suggest file namespace. Right? Because we can import more than one namespace. But the problem is in the capital, I have one more element called employee. The capital, there are two elements. The capital, there are two elements. One element is the capital. I have one element. Okay, look at the element. The capital also have element called employee. Now, again, what is the issue now? What is the issue now? Now, from where you are taking? Is it capital employee or is it capital employee or you Satish employee? There is a reason. we give shortcut names. XML namespace or now if it is if you are referring to from Satish, so sm dot sm folder. All the elements referred from Satish are referred with S. If you are referring with capital, they are what shortcut names. That is to still remove the conflict. So can we include more than one target namespace? Can we include more than one namespace? Yes. How many target namespace? Only one. Target namespace will be one, but namespaces can be n number. There's a reason people import namespaces. XML NS stands for namespace. The followed by shortcut is in case still there is any conflict, we can clearly say these elements because we can import multiple namespaces from which namespace this element came. As we can include more than one namespace, from which namespace you are referring to this element, we say that we give a shortcut abbreviations. People have got it? Probably with this you might have got the basic idea. Look at this. Now what is a XML namespace? So what does it mean? Boss, this is sequence element, sequence element, complex type. Okay, all these are defined where w3.org 2001 XML schema. From this schema definition, these elements are used. What elements? Element, complex type, sequence. All these definitions are given where? Of W3 or 2001, W3 2001 XML. This is standard namespace. Right. Why they are using XS? Because for this I am using a shortcut abbreviation called XS. So XS dot element, XS dot complex type. Is that was clear? So when you say XML namespace, import the properties of that namespace. Import the elements and properties of the namespace. Where is the element defined? In XML schema. Where is the complex type defined? In XML schema. Where is this element defined? XML schema. The definitions of this, what is the meaning of this element? Everything is defined in W3 or 2001 XML schema. That is the reason I imported it. Why are you specifically saying XS? For this, they give a shorter abbreviation. They give an XS colon. Is that was clear? People are clear? Clear? Okay. People have followed this. Online people. Any query from your end? Any query from anyone else? Right. Any other queries from anyone else? Alright, chalo. Let's go to the next step. Now when you are going with this. When you are going with this schema. So what was this? The same definition was element. Now we need to understand what are the elements and different types of elements what we have. So when you say elements, there is a simple element I told you, simple element and a complex element. So what is the meaning of simple element? Whenever you say simple element, simply simple element. Only it has text value. Only it has text value. When you say text value, don't consider text again. Text value is a string. Text value is not string. Text value is what? It is accepting string, decimal, integer, boolean, date, time. All this as per the schema, text. All these as per the schema, they are text. Okay, any one of this value. So any element without attributes, without chain element, we call as simple element. Simple type. Then similarly, attributes. If we give an attribute, access, attribute, name of the attribute, type of the attribute. So you got here last name. Now last name has an attribute. When last name has an attribute, it's not a simple type, it's what? Complex type. If any element has an attribute, it's a complex. Any element has an attribute, complex. Then now we can also give some restriction. What is the restriction? Minimum this is the value, maximum this is the value. Minimum this is the value, maximum this is the value. We can also give the restriction. Restriction means what? Minimum 1 time occurrence, maximum 1 time occurrence, minimum 5 times occurrence, maximum 10 times occurrence. Like we got, if you remember the anti-deployment scheme, then we got max 4. Then we got here max 4 equal to 20. What is that? It is a restriction. There is a restriction. Min inclusive, max inclusive. These are restrictions. Sometimes you can say default was. This is the default option what you given. Okay. So we don't need much about this. Okay. Now when you go for this complex element, the complex element I told you what? Empty element that contains other elements. That's what? Chain elements. Element that contain only text. Element that contain both elements and text. So Basically, empty chain element attributes. Empty chain element attributes combination. There are four types. Empty chain element attributes combination of all this. All together we call as complex type. Now look at this. Employee is what? Complex type. First name is what? Simple type. Last name is what? Simple type. Food type. What is this? Complex type. Why complex type? It has attributes. Now, what is this? What is this? It's a complex type. Why? Because it has a chain element. It has a complex type because it's a chain element. So if you have a chain elements, if you have a attributes, if you have a chain element or if you have an attribute, it is complex type. Let me take empty. When you say empty, root element, it has a root element, it has a root element, it has a attribute. Root element, attribute. No value. Empty means no value. It's something like this. It is empty. It's empty. Value was not given. Attributes are given, but values are not given. So what was this called? Empty. Empty element. It may have attributes, but no value. It may have attributes, but no value. So in this case, what was this? In this case, what was this? Complex. Why? Because there is no value. Okay. If you want to define this, what should I do? Element name equal to product. Is it a type? Which type of element is this? Complex type. What type of element is this? Complex type. If you want to give any restriction, we can give a restriction. Element type complex type. You can give restriction or attribute. What is attribute? Attribute name equal to product ID, type equal to some integer. Similarly, with chain element. Now what is this? It is also complex type. Why it is complex type? It has chain. Element person, complex type, sequence. Sequence is same order. When it is a sequence in the same order. First name followed by last name. Element person, complex type, sequence. What is sequence? First name, last name. Let us take. Element person, complex type. If you want to define this in another, if you want to define your own data type, if you don't want to use schema data type, you want to define your own data type, this is other format. I'm not going too much onto the schema, only to only to understand your result file. By looking at the result file, if you want to understand, basic idea is sufficient for us. Then we have mixed a combination of mixed. When you look at this one, complex type, it is what? Simple type, simple type, simple type. Indicators, indicator means we have always everything you have entered. Choice, choose any one. Opt, ERP. Sequence, the same order. Occurrence, max occurrence, min occurrence. So they are called as indicators. Group name, attribute group name, it's your choice. So, right boss. I hope these are more than enough for me to understand what is my requirement. So basically, my intention was to tell you target namespace and namespace. Because in every visual file, we are going to have namespace and target namespace. When you look at that, what is the meaning of that, you need to understand. Okay, for the sake we started. Right. We'll try to understand what is a visual file. First, let us look at a dummy visual file. Then we'll come back to understanding each and every bit. I hope basic idea is clear. Element, simple or complex. Then target namespace, shortcut application. Shortcut application. This is my intention. Now, I want to first define one web service class. First, let us define one web service class. Understand. Now, I will start with the service provider. If the Salesforce is the service provider for SOAP API, if the Salesforce is a service provider for SOAP API, how do you define? In the Salesforce, we want to be a service provider. So, what I'm doing? Global, 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 web service starting string digit add that's all. These are defining a website. How do you define? Simply keep a keyword called web service and add a simply keep a keyword called web service, add a keyword called static. So how it has become web service? How it has become web service? Simply I kept a keyword called web service. I added a keyword called static. That's all. It's a web service class. So it will be a web service class. Right. So how many web services I defined? Two web services. Now I define these web services. I want to give to my client, boss. I have defined my web services. You can use these web services. How can I give? Build, develop, Apex classes, go here, soap example. What are you finding here? We didn't start what is a visual. We just started directly with the creation of class. Now you save this class. This is a visual class what we received. This is a class what we received. Now go back to this. This is the file what I received, right? So I developed a visual file. I gave this visual file to some third party. So third party people got this visual file. Now in this visual file, what they are finding? This is what they are finding. So overall, the visual file what is it? Overall, in the visual file what is it? Visual file. These are the things. So in this, look at the point. First, we'll start with all these services. In the services, what they are finding? Port, binding. What is this? So example. Where did I use this name? Class. The web service class name is my port name. The web service class name is my port name. Service is containing documentation. If you want to give it a documentation and port. Port indicates the class in which your services are defined. The class in which the services are provided. The class in which the web services are provided. The class in which the web services are provided. There we are finding that class name we are finding as what? That class name we are finding as what? Binding. Okay. How can you call this class? How can you call this class? If you want to call this class, there is a URL. In the REST API service, if you want to call a class, how did you call? How did you call? Salesforce.com/services/fxs/ name of the URL what I do. Similarly, when you create a class with the SOAP API, it will also have a URL. What is the URL of the class? ap5.salesforce.com/services/soap/class name. Salesforce.com/services/soap/class/class name. Are you getting my point? Salesforce.com/services/soap/class/soap example. This is the URL of the class. What is the class? Port is nothing but the class in which the web services are defined. Port is nothing but the class in which the web services are defined. Port is nothing but the class in which the web services are defined. Binding is nothing but the URL of the class. If you want to refer to this class, what is the URL of the class? That is given as your SOAP address location. That is given as SOAP address location. SOAP address location. The SOAP address location is nothing but URL of the class. So service will have port information. Port is nothing but a class, and the address is nothing but the URL of the class. Am I clear? Now, when you are going for this is the part of the service. Then what is the next one? Binding. When you go for a binding, in the visual files, there are two types of basic format: RPC format, document format. What are the two types of bindings we have? RPC format and document. Subcategories are there. But top level, two. Bottom level, there are five levels. Okay, five categories. But top level, only two. What are they? Document or RPC. Is it a document or RPC? RPC is old pattern. We are doing a web services using, okay, somewhere 2012, 2013. So there are, okay, somewhere the LUK post is of 2000. Okay, then we used to go for RPC. Now nobody is using RPC. Everyone is going with the document. Now everyone is going with the document. So there are two styles: document format or RPC format. Then what is the protocol are you using? What is the protocol you are using for transportation? Are you using HTTP protocol? Are you using FTP protocol? What type of protocol are you using for transportation? So the binding will tell you what style are you using, what protocol are you using, transportation protocol and binding style. Binding will tell you the style of your binding, style of your binding and the transportation protocol. If you look at this, what is the style here? Document style. Transportation, HTTP. You are using HTTP protocol, right, boss? For what? Operation called add. What are the other operations we have? So to perform this operation, what is the binding style? What is the protocol? Then prototype. Prototype is like an interface. It gives you list of methods available in the web service class. In the web service class, what are the methods available? In the web service class, what are the methods that are available? Add. Look at this. Your prototype tells you what are the method names. Add. For the method add, there will be input, there will be output. Obviously, method will have request, method will have response. Prototype will tell you services available in the port. Port is nothing but the web service class. So the services which are available in the web service class is nothing but methods. Right. Prototype will tell you services which are available in the port and give you a single message, single line. What is that? Entire input is basically how many parameters are there? Two parameters, but it's considered as single request parameter. When I give output, I may give one or two, it's by choice. So it is also considered as what? It is also considered as what? Parameter. So all the input parameters, one element called request. All the output is given as response. How many elements are there in the request? I am not worried. All input parameters called together. Input is request. Which request? If the method name is operation is add request. Operation is add response. Operation is call me request. Operation is call me response. So what is the service? In the service, input output. In the service, input output. So every service will have two input output. So what is this? Add request is a input, response output. So for every input, we need to create one input message. For every output, one output message. So port type. What is the meaning of the port type? It will give you a list of services available. It will give you a list of services available. For that service, input request, output response. So what is this? Add. That's the reason they created add request message, add response message. So for every port type, there will be two inputs. For every port type, there are two messages. Message 1, add request, target namespace, add request, then parameters. Message 2, response, parameters. What are these parameters? What are the parameters that you have used? What are the parameters you have used? That will be defined in type. Type will tell you what are the parameters we use. Look at this. Add. In this, what are the parameters you have got? Complex type. The reason why I started is this is the reason I started schema information. So what did you find? Element. Name is add. Complex type. Why complex type? It has two elements. So element 1, A value, type is input, nullable, element B value, nullable. Second one, add response, sequence, nullable. Why it is a complex? Because I give attribute. Are you getting my point? Right? What is this XSD? XSD, look at the XSD. XSD is what? To the what schema? I told you all the definition about element, schema, element, sequence, complex type, all the definitions are given where? Right. Next they told all the visual definitions are given in this. Then all so namespace. I told multiple namespace we can use. Target namespace. What is this target namespace? Your actual, your actual. Okay, class is available where? So in this class, in the soap example class, now look at the point TNS, right? So look at this one now. You want add. Where is that add coming from? TNS. Target namespace is a namespace. In that namespace, there is a method called add. In that namespace, there is a method called add. TNS. Where is this add response from TNS? Wherever you are using TNS, referring to the web service class because they give what is this? Include the namespace of soap example. Include the namespace of soap example. So, for example, include the namespace. Everything that is there in the class will be included. Right? So that's the reason to understand this. We just started what is the XML namespace, target namespace, what is sequence, what is element, what is complex type. Right, Amma? Are you clear about this? So at the end of the game, what are you finding first? There are 5 elements in the web services. What are the 5 elements? Visual file will contain. So now let us understand. What is a visual? What is visual? Visual tells you web service descriptive language. Visual will give you web service descriptive language. Where you will have root element is definition. The root element is definition. The root element is going to be definition. In the definition, what are you going to give? Target namespace, what you are using. Target namespace and namespace. What is the target namespace? The name of the class. Target namespace is the name of the class in which all your elements are available. Where my elements are available? Soap example. Target namespace always should start with the protocol. So look at this. Soap.exports.com schema slash class soap example. Right? This is the target namespace. So I cannot use all this lengthy name. So that what the people have used, they have given XML namespace colon TNS. TNS equal to the target namespace. So that whenever I want to refer to this URL, simply I am referring as what? TNS. Namespace and target namespace. Whenever we include the namespace, all the files are included. No need to use shortcut abbreviations. Right, Amma? Right? Instead of giving a target namespaces, simply we have used in a web visual file. We can have multiple target namespaces. Then let us go to the next step. So what are the elements we have? Type, message, port type, binding, service. How many elements are there in visual file? 5 elements. What are the 5 elements? Services, binding, port type, message, and type. So services will contain what? Port. What is the class in which the web services are defined? Your services are available. Class in which the web services are available, they are nothing but service port. Then binding. It will tell you what type of binding are available. Broadly classified, RPC and document format. So okay, what protocol you are using? What protocol you are using? What type of document you are using? What type of style you are using? Port type will give you list of services and associated input output. Then message will give you every input will have one message, every output will have one message. Every port type will have one message. Every port type will have one message. Every port type will have one message. Then type will give you definition of every element. So finally, elements which are used, their definitions are mentioned in the type. User integer, user string, user a value, user b value, user last name, user first name. Where do you find all those definitions? Clear? Got the idea about the visual file? Right? So what are the things? So if you look at the visual file, you should say in which class the service is available, what are the methods are available, which inputs we have to give, which outputs we have to give. If you understand this, you can work with any visual. Or I can put the Salesforce. Generalized understanding of visual. If somebody give a visual file, because I am going to get a visual file from Siebel, going to get a visual file from SAP, going to get a visual file from Jira, going to get a visual file from NetSuite. I am getting all the visual from different. So how do you understand their classes and services? To understand this, we need to go for understanding what is this visual file. So I hope you got an idea about what is this visual elements are there, right? So if somebody give a visual, first what are you going to look at? Service. What are you going to look at? Services. Then what are you going to look at? Binding. Then protocol. Then prototype. Once you look at the prototype, you get an understanding. But you get an understanding. Are you clear? Okay. Now the major part of the story. I'll spend some time in understanding what are the different types of visual files we have. Visual format. I told styles. Binding style. So let us understand different types of visual binding styles. Today, what we are using is document graph literal file. Document literal graph file. Today, what type of style we are using? Now, most common style that is used in the web services today is document literal graph file. Document literal graph file. The common style that everybody is using today is document literal graph file. The RPC I told you is already outdated. People are not using anymore. Previously, the people used to use RPC format for the Java, .NET. So there's more well-known RPC, but now nobody is using that. Okay. Now let us give. First, let me give you. When you go to this, we have two formats: literal format and encoded format. So we have RPC encoded, RPC literal. RPC encoded format, RPC literal format, document encoded format, document literal format. Okay. Now, first understand the difference between RPC and document. Understand the difference between RPC and document. Now, listen to the format very clearly. The first one, RPC format. If you look at this RPC format, now it is giving you element is X and type is. So it is giving you element, along with the element it is giving you data type of the element. Am I right or no? It is giving you element and also it is giving you data type of the element. Observe here. If you observe here, we are getting the element as well as along with the element we are getting the data type. So clearly understood, boss. My name of the method is okay. Method name is service name is my method. In this you are passing x and y parameter. X is of type int, y is of type float. I clearly understood from you. Am I right or not? Now looking at this, or if somebody send a SOAP message, okay, SOAP envelope message is sent. Are you able to understand? Okay, what is there in the body? My method. For my method, what are the two parameters? X and Y. What is the parameter of X? Type of parameter? Int. Type of parameter for Y? Float. So my method, X as int, Y as float. The same thing. I am going with them. For the basic differences. Document format. Look at this. This is a body view. Do you know which method is this? Do you know which method is this? Look at this. If you look at this, can you say which method is this? Can you say which method is this? Now, phi. Phi is of type what? So, X and Y we have find very good. What is X element? Is it integer? Is it decimal? Is it a boolean? What type of element is this? Integer, you are looking at the body. Now, phi doesn't mean that it's an integer boss. Okay, in XML everything is, I tell you, simple type is what text. What type of values you are taken? Integer, decimal. So, okay, looking at the data, don't make conclusions. Now we are taking. Now, what is the meaning of this X element? Chalo, you understood it's X element. What are the validation rules that are there in this Excel element? What is the minimum value? What is the maximum value? What is the minimum value? What is the maximum value? What is the format of the message? It should come 3 digits or 4 digits. It should come 2 digits followed by 2 decimal points. Format also I can give. I can define the formats using schema. Now, what are the validation rules applied on this? Do you know that? Why? Because when you say document, it is going to use a schema. It's going to use what? Schema. The definition of the elements are defined in the schema. If you want to know what is X element, go to the schema, find out the meaning of what is X element. If you want to know what is the X element, go to the schema file. In the schema file, the definition of the X element will be given. Then you understand. Okay, fine. X element. What is the X element? Type X element. Type X element. The X element, which method, which parameter. So it is not straight away format. RPC is what? This is the method name, this is the data. RPC is what? This is the method name, this is the parameters, this is the type. Now we are giving. But whereas in the document, it is not straight away. They are defining all the definitions in the schema. We are importing the schema within the. We are importing the schema. If you want to know the meaning of X element, go to the schema and find out what is the meaning of X element and get the properties. Am I clear with this? Am I clear with this? People have followed this? People have followed? Right? So what is the advantage of RPC? Easy to understand. But what is the drawback of RPC? What is the drawback of RPC? Parsing will become difficult for you. We cannot apply complex evaluations and parsing will become a bit difficult. Okay. When you go to the document, what is the complexity? What is the problem with this? It's not straight away. We need to go to the schema. It's compared to the RPC, it's complex. Compared to the RPC, it's complex. But what is the advantage? Parsing and validations are going to be very easy in defining. You can define the validations to whatever the extent you want. You have complete flexibility to define your own validations, and parsing will become very easy because the meaning of the every element is clearly defined. So the parsing will be easy for the system will be easy. This document is easy for the system. RPC is easy for us. RPC is easy for developer. Document is easy for system. At the end of the game, you want your performance or system performance. So they are paying the salary for you. So nobody is interested on you. They are only interested on outcome of the system. So that is the reason document format is different. So RPC is developer friendly because developer understand what method, what parameters, what value. But document for parsing it will be difficult for the system compared to document. When you go for document, so it is easy for system but complex for developer. Right, boss? So always it is taken as system friendly. Right, boss? You got a basic idea? Basic idea is clear. RPC data this thing, right? Okay. I hope I am clear with the basic idea. What is RPC? What is document? Chalo. Then we have RPC encoded, RPC literal. Now, the first drawback of RPC is overheads are because you are defining everything in the element. The size of the element will increase because we are transporting everything over the network. We are transporting everything over the network. The size of the overheads will increase. The packet size will increase. The packet size will increase. Okay. So what is the method they are using? We look at this. What is the method they are using? This is the actual method they want to define. The service method is my method index interval. My method index interval. This is the method. So when you are going for RPC, see when you look at this, you don't find major differences here. The major difference will be there for document and RPC, but the rest of the things is going to be very simple. So look at this. This is the RPC encoded. Go to the RPC return. So what happened in the return? What is the difference you are finding here? Look at the envelope. This is RPC encoded. Encoded we have X type also mentioned here. When you go to literal, my method X 5 points. The types are not given because they want to reduce the overheads. The format is the same, but in the encoded format you get a type also in the message. But here we are not going to get the type in the message. There is a difference between encoded and literal. The type is also encoded within the message. The type is not encoded within the message. They are defined. defined. Message part X type equal to XSD int. But when you look at this request part X XSD integer, you go to the format. So when you go to format, you are going to get type also. Whereas when you go to this, types are not defined. Types are not defined. Okay. Then let us go to the document. Document encoded nobody is using nowadays. Either document literal or document wrapped literal. Document literal wrapped. Now document encoded is outdated. Nobody is using it. It's completely 0% usage. 0% usage. Then what is the other format? Document literal wrapped. If you look at the document literal, what are you finding here? Schema definition. You are able to see the schema? Schema is going to tell name X element of type name Y element of type floor. So what is the X element is given the schema. What is Y element is given the schema. Then rest all the things are going to be same. No alteration. No alteration. Only the point is in the RPC straight away element and type is given. Here the definition is not given here. It is given in the separate schema. The schema definitions are given. The schema I gave definition and type using type equal to X element. I am not using type equal to int. I am using type equal to X element. What is X element? Go to schema and find out what is X element. Then if you look at this X element, right? If you go to the document literal wrapped, it will be a combination of partially RPC and document together. They are going to take literal format. Okay, RPC format, wrapped format, both they are going to take combination. They are going to take a combination. They are going to take a combination. So when you look at a document literal wrapped file, what are you getting here? Method name you are getting, type of elements which are there you are getting. Look at this, it is a document literal. In the document literal, what are you getting? You are only getting X element, Y element. What is the meaning of X elements? Go to schema. But if you go to document literal wrapped file, it is a document style only, but literal wrapped file, what are you getting? Elements are defined in the schema only. Elements are defined in the schema only. But they are giving element name is X, type is integer, element name is Y, type is float. This belongs to which element? Belongs to which element? My method. So this is the actual format what we are using in our digital files. So what files we are using? Now element is what? My method. Element is X and Y. But where is the definition of X and Y? It is in the schema only. Definition of X and Y is defined in the schema only. So they have enhanced document literal with the document literal wrapped. Okay. So slightly a combination of RPC format as well as wrapped format. Or getting a point. Combination of literal format as well as wrapped. RPC and document both clubbed together, simplified format. So at the end of the game, now if you look at this also, you understand it's my method, Excel file. But this style is not RPC. This style is what? Document only. What type of file is this? Document, literal, wrap. So what type of styles we are using in the digital files now? Almost all the digital files what we are using in Salesforce is a document, literal, wrapped file. All the digital files that we are running now is a document, literal, wrapped file. Now the question is, Salesforce will not accept RPC format. Salesforce will not accept RPC format. Salesforce will not support RPC style. Salesforce only support document style. More to be more precise, document, literal, wrapped file. Salesforce will not support RPC file. Salesforce will not support RPC file. Salesforce will not support RPC file. Is that was clear for everyone? Clear for everyone? So major difference between RPC and document. RPC elements are defined along with the element and data type is defined. Document, the definition of the element is defined in the schema. Okay, and go to the schema and find out the meaning of it. Right, boss? That's only the difference. That's only the difference. And what Salesforce is supporting? Document format. What Salesforce is supporting? Document format. What is the popular format what everybody is using today? Document, literal, wrapped file. So clear? Clear? To make it understandable, now I'll take some third-party web services. Let us go to third party. You're audible? The Salesforce is not supporting. How will you resolve it? So you don't want to resolve it. Let us see. Look at the file. Port 1, port 2, port 3. We have multiple ports. So we need to split the visual file into multiple visual files. The same visual file we need to split into multiple visual files. Go to port types. What are you finding here? Multiple port types are there. What should I do? Remove the Salesforce will support only single port type. Salesforce will support only single port type. Go to the file now. Element. So one more line I have to think I missed out. Where was that? Some line number operation is missing. What was the operation? Get with that. Operation. What was the bug we received? Failed to pass unknown element operation. Somewhere I think I removed some extra line or something. Let me check out. Will I remove? Okay. So now here we have binding. Remove everything now. I removed only port type, so let me remove all the bindings also. Right. Now I removed this. So go back and consume. Basically, we need to check the files and pass it. Make it remove the associated files. Some line I have deleted boss. Let me go back and check it out. Some extra line I deleted. Okay, let me show it here. Global weather modified. So when you went to the modified, what are the files I have taken? What is the modification I have done? Removed. Previously there are multiple ports I removed. Then again there are multiple bindings. Now I made as only one binding. Previously there are multiple bindings. While I am deleting, I might have deleted one operation line extra. So what was this? There is only one binding. One binding, and there is only one port type. One binding, one port type, one port. Remaining things I have deleted. So while deleting, I might have deleted one extra line. So I don't want to check the line by line code. Go back to this. Global modified. Pause it. What happened? Listen. So what is the first error we got? Multiple port types are not supported. Then what we need to do? Split the visual file into multiple visual files. Okay, remove them, put them in a separate visual file. Split the visual file into multiple visual file. So Salesforce only supports what? Single port type. If you want to have a single port type, there should be only one binding. If you want to have only one binding, we should have only one port. One port, one binding, one product. Split the visual file into multiple visual files. Salesforce only supports single port type. Then let us take one more. Then I told Salesforce will not support RPC format. Let me take. I'm taking one RPC format. Unsupported visual file style called RPC. Salesforce doesn't support RPC. If the Salesforce is not supporting RPC, what we can do? We have a SOAP UI tool is set. SOAP UI tool. To the tool, if we give RPC, it will convert it to doc letter. We have tools to convert the RPC to doc letter. But my suggestion is, it is not a good practice to convert the RPC to doc letter from our side. The reason is, when you are making it, there may be a possibility of loss of data. There is a reason, instead of you converting it, make a request to the client, boss, okay, service provider, boss, give us doc literal format. You can convert it by using a tools, but there is a possibility of loss of data because you don't know what exactly the service is. There is a possibility of loss of data, so it's not suggested to convert it by ourselves. Instead, request from the service provider to regenerate a doc literal file because they will have an option RPC format, doc literal format. They have an option. They need to simply click on the button, give a file. But if you are converting, if there is any loss of data, the service will be malfunctioning. So it's not a good practice to convert from our end, but always request for third. But if you want to, you are only the service provider, you are only consumer, and you don't have any other choice than RPC. They written a Java program. The Java program they wrote it in the RPC format. They wrote it. Now there is no choice. They say we don't have just a type of service. Then we can go with the tools like SOAP UI tool, which will convert the RPC to doc, which will convert the RPC to doc level. Right, boss? Tools are available, but it's not a good practice. Then let us go to next. Let us take some. Right. Let us go to some Jira file. Jira visual file. Now, import schema is the one of the biggest issue. Import the schema is the one of the biggest issue. Fail to pass the visual, name cannot be done. So they have given attributes. The value of the attribute, they give attribute name cannot be null. So what is it? They give the attributes, but the name of the attributes they have given us null. So attribute name is a must, but they gave a visual file. So attribute, where is the attribute? In the schema definition, but element they gave an attribute, but the name of the attribute is not defined in one of the area like 384. 384. Okay, this line, the attribute name is null. So that's the result is failed. Attribute name cannot be null. Okay. Now the same error will be there for almost 10 to 20 locations. We'll go to the next one. We're going for some other format. Let us take PayPal visual. So there is one PayPal visual. If you go to the PayPal visual, parse it. Look at the issue what we are getting. Found the schema import from the location. Core component essentially XML external schema import is not supported. Now when you are going for the schema definition, the schema definition should be internal schema. You cannot load the schema definition from external system. You cannot load the schema definition from external system. The schema definition what we are importing target namespace, that should be a part of the same system. You cannot import external schema definition within the existing schema definition. You cannot import an external schema definition within the existing schema definition. External schema is not supported in the visual file. External schema is not supported in the visual file. External schema is not supported in the visual file. External schema import not supported. External schema import not supported. Right. Now why it is not supported? Let us see. Let us open the file and see. What is the file I have taken? PayPal. So what is the statement they are giving? They are using import. They are using import here. Import. So when they are asking you to go for an import from this location, that file has to be imported. If the file has to be imported from this location, external import is not supported to the Salesforce. You have to give it as an internal import. So import, external import is not supported. What is the other error we are getting here? External import. The definition says external schema import not supported. External schema import not supported. External schema import not supported. External schema import is not supported. Okay. Let us go to the next. The possible errors. One is RPC, other is multiple port types, Other one is attribute nulls. Fourth one is external import field. Fifth one is local host. When they define the schema definition, they give us a local host. Instead of giving a protocol, the protocol they give target namespace, they give a local host. When it's a local host, according to the system, that okay, schema definition is there on the system, their own system. So when they say local host, it's running. But when they give that XML file, digital file to B, when install, when they say local host, it will come as my system local host. So XSD file is not available. That's the reason they are unable to pass it. So local host error is one. Otherwise, external import is other error. RPC format is other error. Multiple port types is other error. And what is the other one? Attributes. Other one is attributes. So let us take a Jira file and try it out. I told you, once the issue is only till what? Issue is only till parcel. Once it's parcel, let it be any file, same file may pass. Let it be any file, same file. Authentication procedure may follow. What was the file? Code schema import from external import. Not support. External import is not support. Is that clear for everyone? Right? Okay. So, what are the bugs that we may encounter? Come back again. While you are going for a Java or .NET services, variables can also be passed as a separate elements in the visual file. We can also pass the variables as a separate elements in the visual file. But in the Salesforce, independent types are not supported. Independent elements are not supported. Every attribute should be a part of any one of the elements. Individual attributes are not supported. Right? I'll show you on Microsoft Dynamics file. We are integrating. Actually, that application was integrating with the Microsoft Dynamics with the Salesforce. Then we encountered one error. In the Microsoft, they have written a program with the .NET where they define a couple of elements, couple of variables they have passed the visual file. But when you are passing a variables, they are coming as a types. They are coming as a attributes. You cannot define the attributes independently from the type. Every attribute has to be a part of any one of the type. Every attribute has to be any one of the type. I'll show the file in a session. Okay, Microsoft Dynamics. Right. So what are the common errors we got? RPC. Then multiple port. Then external import. Import. So the structure. Your visual file should be well formed. Okay, if it is not well formed, the parsing will fail. Malform structure and form structure, any one. These are the couple of errors what you can say that you are encoding. So the basic definition of the visual is clear for everyone. So visual contains what? Services, binding, port type, messages and types. Service will say port number and address. Binding will say type of style and protocol. And port type says what are the methods we are using. The next. Right about? Then what we got a visual file, what do you need to do? Simply consume the visual file, get a class. How to use the class that we'll see in the next session. How to use the once a visual file is completed, how to make a call and get the data, I'll see it in the next session. So how many types of visual files are there? RPC, doc. In RPC type and element data type is mentioned, whereas when you go to document, everything is defined in the schema. Schema will define the structure of your XML. Right? I hope I'm clear with this. Any further queries from your end? Clear from everyone? Clear for everyone? Right? I hope session is clear for everyone. Anyone has any further queries on today's session? Clear, boss? Chalo. We'll continue the next session. Next session I'm going to cover probably. Okay. Probably I need 1 or 1.5 hours for completing the soap. And I'll take 1 more hour for the your steaming API. Steaming API. Then any extensions are required, I'll be giving some extra authentications on Sunday. If required, I'll go for the Sunday and extend it. Otherwise, hopefully I'll see that you close on Sunday. If anything is left, I'll go with Sunday. Right. Fine. So authentication process for SOAP API and examples of SOAP API I'll cover it in the next session. That's all from mine.